Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Julia Menicucci and I'm a Brazilian living in Romania, and while I love it here, it's my second home, I gotta be honest. There's still some things that makes my Brazilian brain go like, huh? Wait, what?
What? What?
Every culture has its quirks and ways of doing things, right? When you come from where so different as Brazil to Eastern Europe, you are bound to encounter some things that might surprise or confuse you,
Confusing!
even years later. Today, I want to share with you guys some of these things that still put me like scratching my head. This isn't criticism at all. It's just a fun exploration of differences in culture, way of doing things, etc. Are you ready to get confused with me? Let's go. Confusion 1. The invisible enemy, the current. First up, we gotta talk about the Romanian fear of the current, the draft. It's legendary.
Whoa, the wind's all of a sudden on a move here!
If you spent any time with Romanians, or obviously if you are Romanian, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Coming from Brazil, where the AC is God, everyone is looking for open windows, cross ventilation. A little breeze is always more than welcomed. This intense aversion of drafts in Romania really left me surprised.
Surprised?
You can be literally sweating indoors in summer. Here it's super hot. But opening two windows for cross ventilation,
Oh no, Julia, ne trage curentul!
it means like you're making draft or the draft's gonna hit us. And this curento, people think that can cause anything from neck pain, strong cold, or really serious illness.
The air is poisonous for you!
I have literally been in cars with friends and people would rather sweat out with the windows closed than opening them a little bit or even turning the AC on just because of the current. I remember visiting the older family of my husband, Vlad. Right when I arrived here, it was a beautiful summer day, probably over 40 degrees. And I remember entering and opening a few windows as a good Brazilian would do.
Yeah, need a little wind here.
The reaction was immediate.
Julia, închide fereastra, mă trage curentul.
I was literally so confused. I think it was the first time I heard about curentul in my life. Back home, my mom would insist for me to open every single window in my house for fresh air. And my Brazilian Italian grandpa, oh, he would make sure all the car windows were rolled down if we were traveling anywhere. And I mean, he was 94 years old. Honestly, I don't know any Brazilian that got a cold, a neck pain, or any kind of sicknesses because of a little breeze. It still blows my mind.
I love air. Air is good.
Confusion 2. Openness and directness of Romanians against Brazilian way or the jeitinho brasileiro. Alright, let's talk about communication styles or how to say no without saying no. Well, Brazilians are masters on this one.
Or communication skills?
We love diminutives, sugarcoating, saying something without actually saying it, you know? This is the famous jeitinho brasileiro, that magical Brazilian way of making everything sound easier, nicer, softer, or in our minds, even politer. Even when the answer is no way.
No way.
If you invite a Brazilian to go somewhere and they don't wanna go, they're gonna tell you, oh, let's talk later. I will see and I'll let you know. Or the absolute classic, a gente vai se falando, which means we keep in touch. This all will translate to, No, I don't want, but I'm trying to say it in a nice way so nobody gets hurt. Romanians, in my experience, are very direct. They don't do that gentle dance. And they don't walk around the bush. They often cut straight through the bush with a verbal machete. And they just say, no, I don't want to. Simple. And honestly, it's not meant to be rude. It's just efficient, direct. German, engineering, communication, but with a Romanian flair. Even after all these years, sometimes I catch myself trying to sugarcoat something or answer in a more gentle way, not to hurt people, and my Romanian friends are like, Julia, why? Just say it. It was a huge cultural shock initially, because sometimes I thought that people were saying things just to hurt me when they were just trying to be honest and say things like they are, you know?
Super honesty time.
But after all these years, what I can say is that for me, it's quite refreshing. Once you get used to it, it's much more like clear communication and saves us a lot of time. Confusion 3. Orthodox and Catholic traditions. Let's talk about something deeply rooted in our cultures, religion. We are both Christian countries.
We Christians now.
Both Orthodox and Catholic have the same religion roots, right? The first thing that surprised me is that us as Brazilians, we very often refer to the Romanian religion as Catholic Orthodox. And this doesn't exist. There is not such a thing like Catholic Orthodox. Romanian religion is just Orthodox, or more precisely, Eastern Orthodox Christianity. So, one of my biggest shocker was the Easter. First of all, we have usually very different dates, maybe like 2 weeks before or after one another. And for me, it was quite surprising because while everyone in Brazil had holidays, I was literally working here. For what I understand, we use 2 different calendars. Romanian use the Julian calendar. The Catholics use the Gregorian calendar. Now the churches, Catholic and Orthodox churches, totally different words. The way they look outside could be quite similar, but inside is the difference. For me, the biggest difference I realized was that the Orthodox Church tends to be very much relied on paintings, imageries, icons. The Catholic one is more full of light, stained glasses, a lot of statues. I feel like the Romanian one brings this mystery vibe that I really like, and I find it very beautiful. The thing that I saw that's very common here in Romania and in Brazil is that people that are more religious, they will always do this sign, the cross sign, when they pass in front of a church. My father will always be doing that. I don't have how to say what's better, what's not better. These are 2 very beautiful religions, very Christian, full of history. So I respect both equally. So my 4th confusion, the Romania-Hungary dynamic. Okay, this next one I want to approach very carefully because it involves deep history and very strong feelings, but I was genuinely confused as an outsider when I arrived here in Romania. Coming from Brazil, sure, we have our rivalries, especially in football and let's say with Argentina.
This is Brazil.
But the depth of the historical feelings, the strong opinions, is something I never encountered. Because this situation with Romania and Hungary is much more complex than Brazil and Argentina, for example. It involves a lot of nationalism, a lot of feelings of injustice or fairness. Everyone sees in their own perspective. So for me, it was quite intense and confusing. I often hear comments, read online debates, and I see how strong and how rooted are these feelings inside of people, both from Romania and Hungary. And adding to all this complexity, we still have a big minority of Hungarians living in Romania, and they are both Romanian and Hungarians. Maybe they will rather speak Hungarian outside, but they will have Romanian at school. They will talk both languages. There are also cities where there are major Hungarian ethnicity population, and there you have signs with both languages, bilingual schools, Hungarian markets, Hungarian dishes, Hungarian restaurants in a lot of places. Something that definitely I don't have in Brazil. Now, thankfully, both of the countries are part of the European Union, and you can travel freely, and many Romanians and Hungarians coexist in peace. And as someone that comes from South America, all this depth of European history was something new for me. It was confusing at first, yes, but I really appreciate how history builds and influences on people's identity, relationships, and it's super deep in the population. Even if there is this history and these facts that maybe upset one or another side, in my opinion, as an outsider, it's everything about building bridges, making places as your home, forgetting about the walls, because the population is stronger when it's together, when it's building like knots together. So, confusion 5. Mandatory versus voluntary duties, let's say, like voting and military service. So you'd think that Romania, having this strict communist past, would have more mandatory civic duties. But here is the confusing part. Romania has much more freedom related to these duties than Brazil. In Brazil, voting is compulsory after you are 18 years old. And you can actually be fined if you don't justify your absence or if you don't vote. And for men, military service is absolutely mandatory when they turn 18.
Huge military and civilian applications now.
Romania instead, no, it's not. In Romania, you vote if you want and you go to the military service if you want. It's much more like a career than an obligation. This leads to different outcomes. Like, for example, in Brazil, our elections always hit 80% of the population voting, while in Romania, sometimes even 30%.
So pretty, I don't even want to vote.
Thankfully, the last elections a few days ago was 53%, a bit more, so it was a good number, I guess. But yeah, we have to think which one's better in this case, because in Romania, I would say that people that are more interested in politics go to vote, while in Brazil is more like a broader election. In Romania, many of my friends say like, okay, I'm not gonna vote, I don't care about politics, oh, they're all the same, things like that.
Because it's politics, man, politics.
And it shows that they are not necessarily looking into it. Meanwhile, my Brazilian friends, they are kind of obligated to go ahead and make their research because they are gonna have to vote anyway. You guys tell me your opinion too, because it's quite confusing for me. The military, I think in Romania is better. I don't think anyone should be obligated to simply go to the army. What do you think? So, from fear of drafts, different communication styles, different ways of seeing your country, neighbors, and civic duties and everything, we are quite different, and Romania surprises me in different ways. You know what? Confusion is part of the adventure, and it is what makes me interested in getting to know the culture more and more. So I'm thankful for those. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to leave me a like, subscribe, comment, let me know your insights, and let me know what you want to see in the next videos. Mulțumesc, pupici, pa pa!